All right, joining me this week after days of ignoring my WhatsApp, weeks of messaging with PR people, after God knows how many interviews with IFL, PFL, every other British outlet you could think of. Eddie Hearn is back on the show and in Mexico at the moment for Sugar Nunez 130-pound title defense against Christopher Diaz, which you could watch live on DAZN. Eddie, how is Mexico?
Well, it's wet. There's a bit of flooding here today, but listen, I love these shows because you know the passion for Mexican boxing. All of these kind of Matchroom shows in Mexico have become a little bit of a cult because they're just wild. I mean, in every aspect, from the fights to the setup to the crowd, sometimes to the production as well. We're hoping that the lightning and thunder holds off for tomorrow night. But when Sugar Nunez won his world title in Japan, I promised him that we would return to Los Mochis, Sinaloa. And this is one of the biggest fights in Sinaloa for many decades. So you're looking at the future king of Mexican boxing in Sugar Nunez. I truly believe that. And that's why I'm here this week.
So you may have just answered this question, but how certain are you about Sugar Nunez? He's got the great record. You know, all but one of his wins have come by knockout. But, you know, last time he fought, he went the distance for the first time in a championship caliber fight. Like, how certain are you that this guy is the next big thing in Mexican boxing?
100% convinced. You know, I mean, I think that this guy, obviously, we know his knockout power. He has one of the biggest knockout ratios in the sport. Last time out was a different kind of experience. A very good Japanese opponent, away from home, everything stacked against him. And he showed different parts to his game. Yeah, the fight was brutal. You know, the opponent took so much punishment, but also his footwork, his punch selection, you know, it's massively underrated as well. And I just don't see anybody beating him in the division. You know, we have Ray Ford, who I think is a tremendous fight, and I think that's a great fight. But, you know, right now you'd have to put Ray as an underdog against Sugar Nunez. And some great champions as well. I mean, look, the Navarette fight is one of the biggest in boxing. Navarette against Sugar Nunez. Wow. I mean, that is just a beautiful fight. And obviously, O'Shaquie Foster fighting Fulton coming up as well. It's just a great time for the division. But this guy, for me, he's the real deal. And with Canelo Alvarez just sliding out of the sport, I look at the Mexican talent, you know, and say, this is the future. This guy is going to be the guy that's going to be on top for a long time.
All right, I want to circle back to Nunez in a moment, but this is usually where I ask you about something specific going on with Matchroom. Instead, Eddie, tell me what's going on right now with like the Eddie Hearn, Frank Smith WhatsApp conversation. What's cooking right now at Matchroom? Give me something that's new that you're working on or getting close to that you're comfortable talking about.
I mean, look, I just think it's the landscape of boxing. You know, I mean, we sit there at the moment in a wonderful position as one of the very few promoters in America that has a TV deal and a budget and a significant budget. You know, I mean, if you're an American fighter right now and you're not with Matchroom, you know, where's your TV dates coming from? I know Golden Boy had dates as well with his own, but outside of, Top Rank don't have any dates. PBC don't appear to have many dates. So if you're on that roster, you know, and I think there's a lot of opportunity right now because we're getting approached by fighters every single day to join our promotional company. But also beyond that, there seems to be a real keenness from those guys to make fights together right now. You know, I just named one of them to you, Nunez against Navarette. You know, if Top Rank don't have the opportunity yet, I'm sure they'll get a TV deal. But if they don't have one at the moment, they've got to be making those kind of fights. You've just seen it with O'Shaquie Foster and Fulton. So right now we're looking, and, you know, those WhatsApp conversations are more about planning our December card in the US as well. But even beyond that, January, February, March, US, UK, you know, that's what's going on at the moment. Obviously, we've got the big Boots fight coming up October the 11th. There's silence really from the talks with Virgil Ortiz. I'm very confused as to what is really going on there, you know. But we need to make a big fight for Boots if he comes through against Lima. Obviously, AJ's return his return's not imminent, but a move is imminent. And there's a lot of conversations that are going on around that basis as well. Conor Benn against Eubank Presser coming up. But even with Conor Benn, I'm looking at February and March of next year, kind of preparing his fight, because after he beats Eubank, we're going to go back down to welterweight. And I'm looking now at Barrios, and particularly the winner. Next week's fight, I know we've got Canelo Crawford as well, but we've also got Crocker Donovan, 20,000 outdoors in Ireland. The first time in history 2 Irishmen have fought for a world title. The winner of that fight will be world champion at welterweight. It's a massive belt to win in a division that has just got so many fighters in it and around it. So I'm looking at the winner of that fight against Conor Benn. The winner of that fight against, I don't know, Haney, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, all of these guys in and around that weight class. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, it's a great fight next weekend with Crocker and Donovan. We saw what happened the first time around. A great day overall when you throw the Canelo Crawford fight in there. You mentioned the Vergil stuff, and I'm kind of with you. I think that the appetite from Team Ortiz to take a Boots fight is maybe not what it used to be. Those are the conversations I've had with people on that side of the fence. You mentioned Top Rank too, and they're still looking for their next deal. They've got Xander Zayas out there, and I think it's pretty clear Xander Zayas wants to do some kind of title defense in Puerto Rico. That's what he's saying. That's what people behind the scenes are saying as well. That to me would be a pretty good fight for Boots at some point if they can do that deal. Have you had any conversations with Top Rank about, hey, if this Vergil fight doesn't come together? Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, let me address both of those firstly. We had a meeting with Golden Boy and The Zone around a month ago in New York. It was actually around the event, the ring event in July. Very good meeting, very positive, spoke about numerous opportunities with us and Golden Boy to work together. We all sat in the room and we said, look, Boots is going to fight in October. Then we want him to fight Vergil Ortiz. And Oscar and Eric said, we want to make the fight. These are the terms we think's fair. We went back and forward. We agreed to move forward on those terms. I went to Boots. I said, here's the Lima fight on October the 11th. And here's the terms that have been discussed to fight Vergil Ortiz. In his new contract with us, he signed to all those terms. So recently when I gave interview, I said, Boots has signed, and you kind of broke the internet. No, we haven't signed. So I don't know what's happened with Golden Boy's conversations with Ortiz. All I know is that we agreed the deal in principle, all the terms of the deal, to move forward with that fight in January, February, March, whenever's comfortable for everybody, in Las Vegas, get the fight done. And we've heard nothing. So I've got people like Rick Meridian, going, oh, make the offer. No, that's not for me to make the offer. We agreed the framework of the deal. So that's very frustrating. Xander Zayas, I believe, does want the fight. And we've had a conversation with Top Rank recently talking about, maybe working together to give him a homecoming in Puerto Rico and then make the Boots fight. And we're up for that. I think Boots against Xander Zayas, what a fight. So, yeah, then you've got Murtsalayev, I believe, talking about fighting Josh Kelly in December. We'll fight him as well. I don't care. The winner of Boots against Lima is going to be the mandatory challenger for Terence Crawford. Now, we know it may be unlikely that he returns to 54, but who knows? Boots against Crawford is another fantastic fight. So, but the one thing you don't have to worry about with Boots, he will fight anybody. Get through Lima, which is going to be tough. Trust me, this guy's coming to fight. But get him done, and then he will fight absolutely anybody.
Yeah, I think a Zayas fight in New York City is fantastic. You get the Puerto Rican crowd for Zayas. You get the Philly crowd taking that Amtrak up for Boots. I think that's a tremendous event one way or the other. Couple things for you. As I've told you many times, I watch every interview that you do. It's like at least 2 hours out of my day that gets absorbed with that. You did one interview recently where you talked about Matchroom and selling off pieces of it or selling the business. And it struck me only because we see TKO out there, Turkey's money, trying to consolidate boxing. When you say that Matchroom could be for sale or parts of Matchroom could be for sale. Is there any set of circumstances where you could see yourself handing over the company to be part of whatever it is TKO is trying to do?
I mean, look, firstly, Matchroom is a huge business of a conglomeration of sports, not just boxing. I think obviously these conversations, most people know me and Matchroom primarily as boxing, but boxing is just a small part of the business. So the value just boxing. We did a minority equity deal around a year ago with a partner in Pitch, big sports agency, and they have an option to progress that. There are a lot of people that are trying to either buy or buy a significant stake in Matchroom. The great news is we're making a load of money. We don't need investment. We're not in the marketplace saying, "Oh, does anyone want to invest in our company?" They're all coming to us. So it's really a strategic deal if we do anything. We don't take anyone's money, but what we do is we partner up with the right people that could help us go to another level, which is essentially an IPO. I mean, that's really where it's leading to. So I think that I had dinner with Maurizio Sulaiman the other night, and we were just talking about boxing and TKO, the landscape. I'll be honest with you. I would never, I like Dana White. I like those guys. TKO is a phenomenal business. I want the fight with them, right? I want to compete with Dana White. I don't necessarily want to join forces. I mean, if it was financially beneficially for everybody and strategically it made sense, of course we look at that. But I'm got more of a tingling, right, to compete with him. That's the kind of thing that will take me to another level. Personally, I'm just talking like I respect Dana White as one of the best promoters in the sport. I think as a boxing promoter, I'm on another level, right? And as an MMA promoter, he's on a completely different level to me. So let's find out who's the best. Let's find out who can put the best shows on. That's the kind of, and it's not yeah, Dana, I respect Dana, but I want to compete with him because I want to test myself. So, when I was talking to Maurizio the other night and we sort of talked about, I don't look at TKO as a negative. I look at it as a positive. Firstly, that you've got a business of that size and someone as powerful as Dana that wants to get involved in boxing. It just brings the whole ecosystem up. And secondly, because I want to, it makes me raise my game. Or try to raise my game. So, yeah, I mean, I think Matchroom and TKO together would be a very powerful combination. But, if that doesn't materialise and there's been no talks to do that, I'm up for the fight. That's what I want. It won't be it definitely won't be a toxic fight because I respect those guys a lot. But it'll be a great fight and it'll be a competitive fight. And it's one I'm more than up for.
So they're putting on their first card next weekend in Vegas, the Canelo Crawford show, which is going to be massive. You've done Canelo shows in stadiums, did a huge crowd for AT&T Stadium in Texas. I'm sure it's going to be a big crowd there. I know, as you've said, you've gone back and forth on who you think is going to win that fight. I've been pretty strong on Canelo since it was announced. I think size matters, and I think jumping up really 3 weight classes in, against one of the best guys in the world is just a lot to ask of any fighter, even someone as talented as Crawford. Explain to me why you seem to be vacillating on all this. Why do you keep going back and forth on who wins this fight?
No, it was the plane journey from New York to Riyadh with Terence Crawford. That's what did my head in, right? Because let's be honest, this guy's got a tremendous IQ, right, for boxing. I actually think he's got the best boxing IQ in the sport. Even above Usyk, and that's saying something because I think Usyk's phenomenal, right? I just think he knows how to beat Canelo Alvarez. He has it in his head. He sees it, and I just found him so convincing. Now, obviously, when you spend time with Canelo Alvarez, he has that same effect on you. So, but there's a couple of things in this. I saw pictures of Crawford arising in Vegas. He looks totally different. I mean, he looks extremely muscular, a lot heavier, Like, that's a difficult thing to do, to just move up to that weight class and fight like you've always fought, especially first time out. They're both old in the sense of boxing. I mean, not in the sense of life, but in terms of the prime of the, so there's that for Crawford. He's also been unbelievably inactive. Like, he's had, what, 3 fights in 3 years, or 3 fights in 2 fights in 2 years. I mean, he didn't look great at 154, if I'm honest. Then you flip over to Canelo Alvarez and you say, is he getting old? Where are his legs at? I thought his legs looked really tired and old in the Skull fight, but we can't take too much from that because it's Skull, and I don't think he was. The word out of Canelo's camp is, well, he's fired up, right? He's training so hard, and bloody right, he should do, because he knows what he's up against. But I think it's more like, it's not. This fight isn't just about who's going to be better. It's about how Canelo's aging and how Crawford is also aging, but how he moves up and fights at that weight. People talk about the power of Canelo Alvarez and can Crawford stand up for it? Let's be honest. What power, devastating power, have we seen from Canelo Alvarez? I mean, his last stoppage was Caleb Plant, right? He's not a massive volume puncher and he's not a one-punch knockout artist. So I don't think Crawford's going to be that phased by the power, if I'm honest. And I just think if Crawford fights the right fight, and it could, probably have to make it a little bit boring, if I'm honest. Like, let's be honest, Canelo doesn't go out there and chase the fight, does he? Like, to make it a war. He just doesn't do that. He doesn't fight like that anymore. And Canelo Golovkin 3 showed you everything you needed to know in that respect, and probably the Bivol fight. So I think it'll be cagey. Yeah. I think it'll be cagey. I think it'll be a very close fight. I think it'll be a 115, 130, and a lot of, I think someone might score it 11-1 Crawford, and someone might have it, I don't know, 8-2 Canelo. You know what I mean? It'll just be like, but I'm fascinated. It's a great fight, and just slightly lean into Terence Crawford at this time.
I told Andre Ward this week that I would not want to be the unofficial scorer for that fight, because that is going to be a toxic place that applies to unofficial scorecards on that one. To bring it full circle.
What's interesting, Chris, just lastly, is who's the home fighter?
I mean, Canelo, clearly. You don't think? I mean, that Eddie, come on. How many Billy Joe Saunders fans were in the building in AT&T Stadium?
No, but I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about in the politics of boxing.
I gotcha.
Right? Crawford is a big reality. He's got a lot of people involved in his team that are involved with TKO. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if you ask the people around the fight who they want to win, it would be Crawford.
Yep.
That matters.
I do like the judging panel. I know Steve Weisfeld's on that panel.
Yeah, great.
I like what I see. Good judges. So hopefully we get a fair shake for somebody. To bring it full circle to Sugar Nunez, I've talked to Ray Ford a few times in the last few months, and he keeps repeating the same line that he's been told 12 to 18 months before he gets a shot at Sugar Nunez. And my question is why? Like, they're both Matchroom fighters.
I don't know why Ray's saying that. I mean, Ray has got to, just recently, Ray has got a little bit, he's had a chip on his shoulder that he should be fighting these guys. And I get it, right? That's what you should want to do. But he's let that chip on his shoulder kind of penetrate his mojo, if that makes sense, right? To the point of, I saw an interview with him where he said, the politics of boxing. I'm thinking, mate, the politics of boxing. You're still young in the game. You don't know about the politics. The politics of the boxing is you went and did amazing and won the world title. You lost the decision that could have gone either way. I thought he won the fight against Nick Bull. Then you moved up, and we're keeping you nice and active while we get a shot at the world title. Now, when you've got that energy of boxing, or sometimes that can translate within the performance. And I felt like that's what happened in the Nova fight. I don't think he really wanted the Nova fight, right? Because he's like, I want to fight Nunez, I want to fight O'Shaquie Foster. But you've got to go out there and you've got to look sensational. And then he looks okay and he says, oh, I weren't happy with my performance. And then it stops people from calling for Nunez against Ford. Do you know what I mean? So you've really got to make the statement. I love Nunez against Ford. We can make that fight, no doubt. But I also have to be honest and say, what is the biggest fight for Sugar Nunez? And that's Navarette. Right? That fight in Arizona or San Diego does huge business.
Do you get the sense that Top Rank is open to that? I mean, what percentage chance of Nunez-Navarette would you give of happening?
Yeah, I do think they're up for that fight. I think they need to give Navarette activity and fights, and right now they don't have the deal to get him out. So we'll partner up and we'll do that fight in Phoenix or in San Diego does massive business. And it is an absolute war of a fight, unification. Let's get it made.
I agree. One of the best fights you can make in that weight. Maybe the best fight you can make in that weight class. Eddie, appreciate your time, man. I will not WhatsApp you for at least 3 weeks, so I'll give you a bit of a break.
I don't believe you, but I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Eddie.